107-pound Zepbound weight loss, critical differences between year one tirzepatide weight loss versus year two with Zepbound weight loss, and why this will matter for your own GLP-1 weight loss journey. In addition, I'm going to talk today about the most important question you should be asking your healthcare provider each time you titrate up as you go along your year one journey and then your year two journey. Super important questions that you may not have thought about, but I have learned over the last 27 months, over 100 plus injections of taking Zepbound, mounjaro, and tirzepatide compound. And somebody who's been morbidly obese, who could not buckle easily a airline seatbelt, could not ride horses because I weighed over 300 pounds. And now I'm very, very close to hitting a quote healthy goal weight. And I've been noticing recently in our thousands and thousands of Countess of Shopping community of men and women, of when they elevate and they go through year one, that there is very much a like 2.0 version of Zepbound weight loss. And deciphering the differences. You may be slower than the average bear if you are a turtle. I've got some information for you. And also, if you're a tortoise and you're going really fast on your GLP-1 journey, I've got information for you too. So let's go ahead and dive in. Year one for me, very clearly down the line, was refining the food. And again, this is my experience, strength, and hope. I never medical advice. I will always punch you to your healthcare provider and twice on Sundays. Never interpret this. This is as medical advice. This will be a conversation for you to have directly with your healthcare provider, because medical conditions vary on these. Obesity is a wide spectrum. Type 2 diabetes factoring in there. And if you're a man versus a woman, like there's a lot of different factors that play into this. But nonetheless, the roots of these each, including refining food, for me coming from a very, very unhealthy background of food, with a disordered eating of food. That's not the picture that I wanted to show you guys. Well, you can see from being obese, I didn't get that big with having a healthy perspective of food. And so learning with the refinement of like portion sizes, to me, that was phase one of, okay, in year one, literally just like, I'm not going to eat 3 big plates full of food. And then what do I do with that? Like that took time, effort, energy, the food chatter, the food noise, the food thoughts that went into those meals, snacks, binges, night snacking, and then clearing that off of the table in year one. Then what do I do with that? What I did, the secret was I went to a therapist and working on the mindset. Now, I am also with Join Fridays. Use the discount code QUEEN for me. One of the big things with that is they have coaching on that too, so to work on the mindset piece. But that feeling of fullness, putting my fork down, novel concept for me. Was it a novel concept for you as you're walking along? Either you're just starting or you're in your year one. I still, even after 27 months, over 2 years and 3.5 months of being on Zepbound, still have to remind myself, gosh, am I full? Put my fork down. Do I need to have that extra bite? No, I think I'm full. My body's giving me cues and signals all day long. It's whether I choose to listen to them now, which is my job. And so, one of the things that I want to encourage you as you go along year one is a refining. And this video goes back to refinement. I feel like that's like my word for the year this year, is very much refining the processes around my health journey. Because without GLP-1, I have a hormone deficiency, a GLP-1 hormone deficiency, and that helps to fill that. And so with that, dealing with this head hunger being gone, this fullness feeling, it opened up this beautiful whole clearing that has been so cool. But I've had to learn along the way what that means. Next part of year one, side effects. We know that there's 4 major gastrointestinal side effects that happen to us on our weight loss journey. And for tirzepatide, no, this is the one I wanted to show you guys. These are for participants after 72 weeks with their nausea, diarrhea, constipation, and there's vomiting too that comes from that. Handling those as I titrate up each dose, different side effects for me as I walk through. I erroneously thought, okay, so I haven't had nausea. I'm not going to have nausea at all. Well, boom, I hit Zepbound 15 milligrams, honey, over 15 months ago. And I got very nauseous and I even threw up twice. Now, I threw up twice partially because of food choices I had that was not medication. Well, it was medication related, but it was because of the food choices in which I had, to give some context. I learned in my first year that many of those side effects were self-induced, but these medications, Zepbound, tirzepatide compound, mounjaro, there are side effects with them. And so how do I handle and process those? One of which was fatigue. So I've talked so much about diarrhea, nausea, constipation, vomiting. So I'm not going to hit on that too much in today's video, but Zepbound fatigue and mounjaro fatigue are a real thing. And for me, very much have been a real thing of day 2, day 3, very much I am peak in my appetite suppression, but also peak in terms of my side effects. And how do I know that? Because I have a free side effects tracker on my Countess of Shopping website. I will link that down below, and all the resources I'm talking about today. My gift to you, it's a free printable, in addition to a free meal plan that's down there that was dietitian created as well. But one of the things that has been really important for me for my weight loss journey was figuring out, okay, how can I hack this whole fatigue thing? And there's a thing called beta glucans. There was a study that was done, and I'm going to cite the study down in the description link below, how beta glucans can help with the findings of their systematic review and meta-analysis from beta glucans hold promise to potential intervention in reducing feelings of fatigue among healthy individuals. And so within this refinement of my food, Gem daily bites have been a huge part of that for me because they have beta glucans in them. And that's one of the really cool things about, I want to pull up their ingredients so you guys can see. It's real food. They're bites with real food in them. They come in a pouch, which is so convenient, by the way, if you travel. But with the beta glucans, it has helped so much with my Zepbound fatigue. Now it has prebiotics, probiotics, which are amazing for those intestinal issues that I was talking about. But with beta glucans, the more I learn about them with my refinement of food, I am making better and better food choices. And with Gem Bites in there, it's literally a bite a day, has helped me have real food, helped me hitting my daily nutritional goals with that. And I feel better. The difference of feeling super sluggish and tired versus not, it's been so helpful because of Gem Bites. And so I highly recommend them as one of my things that I started over. And, I've been on them for a long time now. And in year 1, it was one of the major hinge pins, changing from a different vitamin that I was taking to real food. Because of Gem Bites in there. Now, they've been super gracious to the Countess of Shopping. When you go to dailygem.com/queen, use the discount code QUEEN to get a discount on your monthly subscription. They've been super kind. So thanks, Gem, for the discount on there. But that has been one of the big things for me with my food refinement is incorporating Gem in as my daily supplement. I'll tell you what, I got blood panel and blood work done. Make sure you're asking your healthcare providers to do that. And it was awesome. One of those contributing factors to that awesomeness is, for me, has been Gem Bites. And with that Zepbound fatigue, because of the beta glucans, because Gem has beta glucans in there, that has been helpful for me to ride the wave of side effects. And as I titrated up on my dose, now I'm on the highest dose. There's no for brand names. Now there's compounds, but specifically for brand names, there's nothing higher in the marketplace right now than the dose that I'm on until we see cagri-sema come out or retatrutide, which fingers crossed, in 2026, they'll be rolling out on 2026, 2027. So with that, dealing with side effects, key for year 1. Key, in addition to that food. And learning for me the correlations of what feels good, like Gem Bites, and what doesn't. You know what I mean? Like I no longer had and started to realize like, oh my gosh, the cravings that I had once had, that went away. So then what do I fill my time with? Then what does make me happy? And for me, I really had to get back to some roots. This is an old picture from this last summer. I can't wait to do it again this summer. But riding a roller coaster, I hadn't ridden a roller coaster in decades. Like dealing with that was crazy. But then the counterpart of how do I deal with hair loss? You know what I mean? When I lost weight rapidly, which I don't recommend, but I did, there was a pocket at the beginning that I did, and I did have some hair loss. And I realized because of that massive hair loss, losing 1 to 2 pounds per week, that's my goal. Now my goal is actually a half a pound to 2 pounds per week, and losing 107 pounds. I lost a pound this week. Woo! So losing losing a half a pound to a pound per, I like celebrate that like that's gold. But really, 1 to 2 pounds per week is a healthy weight loss drop. Really healthy weight loss drop. But as I started to lose weight, and again, not wanting to run to lose weight, losing it in a healthy, safe, effective manner, got to do things like horseback riding. This was from, gosh, what was that? That was from 7 months ago. But I went to literally a few weeks back, I got to go to horseback riding camp. And that was, here's the updated picture. It was in Tucson, Arizona. And that was because of the food refinement. While I was there, I was at a luxury resort. It was akin to if you've ever been to like an auberge type one, but for families. Kids can go and they have kids camp stuff there. And they had the most beautiful fruit, most beautiful, the chef prepared vegetables. I was so excited about those fruits and vegetables on that vacation, in addition to all the physicality, because it could be physical. I could actually do, and I was like, this was a whole new vacation I had never had. Literally, I loved vacations where I could go sit and lay on a beach somewhere or just sit by the pool and not move. Now I'm like, baby, I want to move. But that was because of year one with the food refinement on there. And so the thing and the question that I want you to ask your healthcare provider, it's a very important question to ask your healthcare provider when you're titrating up on your dose each time, is it's two-pronged. One, is your weight loss on pace for where you want to be? And what are your side effects like? If you're having, for example, blowout diarrhea, or you're crazy nauseous, or constipation, does that make sense to have more of a dose to potentially have more greater side effects with that? Probably not. Again, I'm not a healthcare provider, just a bestie talking to another bestie. I want you to punt this to your healthcare provider. This is why these are critical questions for you to ask your healthcare provider about. If you have high side effects, does that make sense for you to have more dose, which could lend for more side effects? Probably not. If your weight loss is not on pace to that 1 to 2 pounds per week, and maybe this is where this can get dicey and with a disorder's perspective, which is why having someone who you trust for your medical healthcare opinion matters. But 1 to 2 pounds per week, are you losing that? Is that within line with your weight loss goals? Now, I had somebody ask me recently, and I may not answer all of your questions, but I do see all of them. And a lot of them do also become future videos when you ask questions in the YouTube comments. So there you go. I won't put your name. I'll make it anonymous basically, or just use your first name. Um, when someone has, say, like 100 pounds to lose, and they're maybe not losing any weight after a few weeks, and it's been at the beginning, that would be for me like, yeah, I would titrate up on that. That would, for me. If you have, I don't know, like for me right now, I have on my weight loss journey, I've lost a tremendous amount of weight. And I only have about 20 pounds left to get to a healthy BMI. I'm close to my goal weight. Part of that is I'm lifting more. Part of that is I have a lot of loose skin. So it's a lot slower process. And so in terms of the weight loss, the critical question for you to ask your healthcare provider is your side effects versus are you on pace for weight loss? Should you be titrating up because your weight loss goals are on pace? If you're losing a tremendous amount of weight quickly, does that also make sense to titrate up? Like if you're losing, I don't know, a ton, and it's just dropping, dropping, dropping. When people drop weight that quickly, for me, that sets off red alarms, not as a healthcare provider, but as a bestie, of hair loss. It takes 6 months to see hair trauma. No, 3 months to, excuse me, 3 months to see hair trauma, and then 3 months to fix it. So 6 months total in that process with hair loss, just to give some context. So hair loss, but it can also trigger pancreatitis, appendicitis, and some other gnarly side effects that are hard. If you're dropping weight that quickly, does that make sense to titrate up? See, so you can see how there's two sides of the coin of titrate up, not titrate up, and where should you be within that? We know, and going back to what the clinical trials for Zepbound and Mounjaro told us, is after 72 weeks, 5 milligrams, they lost 15%. What is it? 15% change for mean weight loss change. And then 15%, 19.5% on 10 milligrams. And then 15 milligrams lost almost 21% of mean average weight loss. You can see that placebo of they're using nothing, like just straight, I was about to say just like straight Weight Watchers or like diets that we used to do. I know it came out not the way I wanted to. Just doing straight modifications, like behavior modifications, 3% for the placebo. In fact, I don't even know if they did behavior modifications on there. I don't know that. But it was 3% versus almost 21% on 15 milligrams. Now, this was after 72 weeks of 19.5% versus 20.9%. For me, being morbidly obese and over 300 pounds, it makes sense for me to be on the highest dose and not diddle-dingling along at 10 milligrams. Like continue trucking up, pending I can handle the side effects. And then now I've camped out on that version. There's also, and this is where I've talked in previous videos, if you saw my old stuff of where I'd say, stay at the longest dose as long as possible. Well, I've actually changed my tune on that. I'm actually so grateful that I did go fairly quickly, partially because of the Zepbound shortage, up to that 15 milligrams dose. I'm actually really glad that I went pretty quickly, and I've changed my tune of maybe you do want to go a little, if you, depending on what your goals are, And again, this is for me not to judge. If people have different, there's so much in the marketplace now about microdosing, and there's so much in the marketplace now about how these drugs help so much with hypertension. And we know Zepbound's approved for obesity management and obstructive sleep apnea. So there's so much along those lines of other things. And so this is where information is going to continue to change with that. The point in which I'm trying to make, going back to year one to encapsulate that, food refinement. Getting really good at that and getting really good at side effects and having that conversation. The most important question, are your side effects okay? And is your weight loss on point if your goal is if you're on for obesity management for Zepbound? That is where in which I would decide of when to titrate up. Those two things. Year two, like I'm hoping I don't cry during year two because it's so emotional. This year has been, and now I've been on it for 27 and a half months, but looking back at year two, because I was trying to I'm being interviewed for a national magazine and they wanted me to go back in my history with some of the stuff. And so let me go down to the picture. And so going back from year one versus year two versus the beginning, for me, I can see the difference in there. And by the way, I was telling the count right before I started to film this, I would feel a disservice if I didn't tell you the picture on the left has not been altered. That is me. However, one, I know how to pose. A long time ago, I was in pageants, so I know how to pose for pictures really well with my angles. I'm good with angles. So that's one, just to give full context. I've not altered that picture on the left. That is me. But I'm wearing compression outfits. The top is a Skims top, so it's very tight in, sucking in, and the bottom is Athletica, and I'll link them down below, my favorite leggings, very compression. So it's squeezing everything in. So that's me. So if you see me on real life, like today, my husband, I was looking, I was like, I'm wearing very loose clothing. It is not the same as that picture in terms of like tightness, but I wanted to show in the picture, because this is why context matters. I wanted to show in this picture of what my body accurately is, but it is turned at an angle of me not facing forward. And then also it's me wearing compression tightening in clothes. And compression tightening in clothes make a difference. Like now that I'm like, oh man, I can fit in Spanx. Before it was, y'all, it was like mud wrestling putting on Spanx. I was sweating. I'd be like upside down with like a turtle on my back. If you know, you know. Like with being morbidly obese, I could not fit into Spanx. So I just didn't. But now I'm like, it's a whole new world with undergarments, the body armor that fit. But there's no body armor on that picture. Those are literally just Skims on the top for my before picture, the green top, and then the Athletica leggings. Am I saying that right? Athleta leggings. Year two, physical refinement physically, of getting so stinking serious about lifting weights. It matters so much because of the muscle mass loss. Muscle mass loss, oh marron. If I could have done the physical part earlier, I just couldn't. There was so much untangling that had to be done with the disordered perspective of food in year one with a therapist, hardcore on a daily basis. I felt like I was working as hard as I could with my food in terms of learning my meal plan and dietitian. The dietitian created one on countessofshopping.com and also linked down below. Like learning all that took me a year. Again, I'm a turtle. Fellow turtles unite. It took me that long, but gosh, I'm so grateful I'm here. I'm glad it took longer because I learned the lessons. And so now this year has been really on physicality, but I realize how much, y'all, there's muscle down here. It's not showing muscle right now, but there's muscle because I've been lifting. And with lifting, I realize how not strong I am and how much stronger I want to get with my muscle. But muscle mass loss happens with any kind of substantial weight loss, not just GLP-1 weight loss. But why that matters is our bones. I don't want to have a hunchback. I don't want to have osteoporosis. I don't want to snap a hip at like me sneezing, like literally. So that's why weight lifting matters so much for the muscle to protect our bones. The side benefit of it, though, is it's going to help my metabolism and your metabolism as well with lifting. But walking 2 to 6 miles per day and then also lifting. Last night, the count, my hot husband was like, have you worked out today? And I was like, no, we had planned to go out to Sonic to get ice cream. If you live near Sonic, you know. We live near Sonic, we love Sonic. But their app's not working, by the way. Sonic, fix your 50% off apps. You lie. They say it's 50% off ice cream and it's not, or their nerd slushies is what we're going for. They lie. I was been broken for months now. Anyways, I digress. If you work at Sonic or know somebody who works at Sonic Tech, tell them. But I digress. My husband's like, we're gonna go get nurses, but have you worked out today? And I have given him permission to ask me this, by the way. This is not my husband being a douchebag. I've given my husband permission to ask me this. And I'm like, no. And he said, did you work out yesterday? And I said, no. And I tried to bat my little eyelashes and be like cutesy wootsy. And he's like, no, you didn't work out yesterday. You didn't work out today. We're not going to go to get Sonic Nerd slushies. Like, no, that doesn't fit in line with your healthcare goals that you say that you want. Your actions are incongruent to what you're saying. How dare he? No, I had asked him to hold me accountable. I'd asked for this. And I'm like, you're right. And he goes, so what do you want to do for your workout? And I'm like, okay, can we go walking without the dogs? Normally we walk Fred and Wilma with us, but they can be a handful. And I was like, I want to go faster. I'll go faster without the dogs. So we walked for 2 miles before we went. And we were walking fast. Like we were both, y'all, I was so grateful for that. Then we went to go get ice cream. And so this is where I'm talking about the refinement. I wanted to give the story to illustrate the physical part, but then here's the food part. I knew because I'd been calculating my calories for the day, I have to be in a calorie deficit. This is not guilt, shame, or combination of calories in, calories out. It's literally a mathematical equation. And so I've been tracking my calories because of Jamie, my homegirl Jamie said, track your calories for a week versus every day, but you track them every day, but then you calculate it over the course of the mathematical equation in a week. And that has been so helpful because some days are way, way less and some days are more. And so this averages out so I can continue to be in a calorie deficit. Jamie, I lost 1 pound this week because of you, by utilizing this technique and not traveling. I've been on travel a bunch for work. And so I'm back home so I can like hit it hard. With factoring that in, I knew exactly how many calories I had for the day. And so I'm like, okay, Sonic's small nerd slush is 350 calories. I'm gonna have that nerd slush, but I'm gonna have like half of it, a little bit more than half of it to make it around the 200-ish. Is that right? A little bit less than half of it for the 200-ish, 250-ish calorie range. Y'all, I was so happy. I was like a pig in mud, honey. I don't want to be associated with pig. What else would be a better example? I was like a dolphin in water who's jumping out and getting some fishies. I was so happy. I was like, I was like savoring it. I was enjoying it. I was satisfied. It smashed my like sweet craving. Like today, I'm like on it. I've eaten so healthy today. I had but it was only like 200, 250 calories. So happy. So happy. And I did not feel deprived because I only had part of it. I was full, like, it was great. Am I doing that every day? No. But this is what I'm talking about in terms of refinement. For me, what it would have been before, I'd go to Sonic and I would have probably gotten one of their huge, like, Sunday things, like 1,000, 1,100 calories, and then some tater tots, like 500 calories there, with maybe some queso dip. And, like, you know what I mean? Like, it would have been off the rails. So the fact that like, this is what I'm saying of like, life is so different. And today, because I smashed that craving, because we're gonna have cravings, like I am not, if you want one of these Puritan influencers, and I don't call myself an influencer, I'm a creator. If you want one of these that's not me, I'm not Puritan like that. Like I'd rather make this so fun and so enjoyable, and I'm getting to my destination. I am almost there. I'm almost there. And I still have to continue to refine, but I gotta have treats along the way, honey. And I feel like that's part of this process too, of like, how do I have treats that still map into this lifestyle? And that's the gift that Zepbound has given me. And so I want to encourage you, are you matching the food part of it in year one? And maybe your year one is just a couple of months. Maybe you're faster than I am and you don't need a full year to work on that. And maybe you've already incorporated in lifting in. I know many of you have. And I'm not saying this is the formula for success. I'm saying the overall theme of this, take and choose what you want and leave the rest. Take what you want and leave the rest. So year two has been about lifting, walking, movement, physicality to support the weight loss. Could I have done both at the same time? Oh my gosh, yes. Would this have made this so much faster? Oh my gosh, yes. But I needed to do that to untangle the toxicity that was within the food journey for me. And so what I want to encourage you with also is everyone's journey is different. I do this on so many of my videos now because I think it's important to have the visualization. There's hyper responders, people who are super, super fast at their weight loss journey. There's normal responders. There's hypo responders. And then there's the other bucket that I just dropped on the ground so all my water would have splashed all over my shoes is non-responders. So if some people just don't respond. or they may just take to get to a higher dose. Showing that picture of the 15 milligrams of just getting to a higher dose, pending they can bear those side effects, pending they ask the most important question to their healthcare provider that I gave you. So non-responders, hypo responders, meaning they're a slower responder. We know slower responders are going to be men. We know that slower responders are going to be people with a larger waist circumference. We know that slower responders are going to be type 2 diabetics. Hypo responders, normal responders, and then hyper responders. There's 4 different buckets or cups with those. And so you're going to run your own race. But for me, this is where I'm getting very close to my goal weight. And I know I'm going to hit it here. And I'm so excited about that, of making the refinements daily focuses, daily choices. And if you're losing too much weight too quickly, talk to your healthcare provider. If you've got too many side effects, talk to your healthcare provider. Like, all roads lead back to talking to your healthcare provider. Now, I do want to make sure you guys take advantage of that awesome discount code that Jem gave us, dailygem.com/queen. Use the discount code QUEEN, QUEEN, linked also down in the description link below. Take advantage of that too to add in Gem Bites for your daily vitamins. For me, it's been Mage for my daily supplement. Been so major. So, accountability question: what are you doing today to move you closer to your goal? Tell me in the comments below. And our emoji of the day, and I do emojis of the day to help to get to know you better because I care, with that pattern recognition of seeing your name over and over and over again. It helps me to learn your name. Like, for example, like Jamie, who gave me the example of the weekly calorie tracking. I knew Jamie before Jamie commented because Jamie did emojis of the day. And it helps me to get to know you better. Our emoji of the day is going to be a sunshine, because we're great balls of sunshine, and because Gem, I love, like, their bites remind me of sun. I love it so much. They're delicious. They're delicious. My sweet friends, make sure you like and share this video. And if you've not subscribed, what are we doing? Go ahead and click that subscribe button, so that way you see all my future content too that comes up. I have been doing a lot of YouTube shorts, so if you see those pop up as well, I'm trying to do more YouTube shorts for quicker content if some days you don't have time to watch a full 20 to 30-minute episode on our daily show. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping. Count my blessings, because life is delicious. I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow's episode. Bye.